Well, thank you so much for staying tuned to Sunrise at Sea right here on CTV. My name is Apollo Sarah, and the conversation continues on the Twitter jabs too. And I am joined by two lovely gentlemen with me right here in studio to deliberate further into this conversation. Like I said, following the death of the late Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, that is Jacob Oulanyah, that occurred on Sunday, that was 20th March 2022. Well, it is also said that Article 82, Section 4 provides that the subject to the caucus, Section 4 of the Article 81 of the Constitution states that no business shall be transacted in Parliament other than an election of the office of Speaker at any time the office is vacant. So basically, business in Parliament is not going to continue until a new Speaker of Parliament has been elected. And Friday, 25th March 2022, which is this Friday, has been set aside to elect a new Speaker of Parliament. And in studio with me today is a veteran journalist, lawyer, that is Council Gawaya Tugule, and Honorable for Gulu West, and that is MP for Gulu West, that's Badeg Laibi Division, that is Honorable Ojara Martin. Thank you for joining me on the show today. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
So before we dive into the conversation, I just want to hear your thoughts and your sentiments towards the late Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. How do you feel about his demise and passing?
Well, it's extremely devastating.
Yes.
He died at a time when the country needed him most.
Yes.
When Parliament needed him most. He died at a time when we had a lot of expectation. The fact that he promised to deliver a pro-people parliament.
Yes.
A parliament that cares about the needs of the ordinary citizens, the 11th parliament. So with his loss, it's extremely painful.
Yes.
But we leave that to God.
All right.
Yeah.
And what about you, Council? How do you feel? How does it make you feel? And especially now that the race to speakership for finding a new Speaker of Parliament is actually overshadowing the grief and the mourning of his passing.
Jacob was a fantastic human being.
Yes.
I'll tell you that. I knew him way back when he was a partner with Mao and Honoria.
Yes.
In the law firm. He was a fantastic human being, very eloquent, very articulate, very friendly.
Yes.
He was he was a nice guy, I'll tell you that. And my only problem with Jacob is that he sold his soul, ultimately.
How so? How so?
Jacob was a passionate UPC. Mm-hmm. Jacob was a passionate opposition stalwart.
Yes.
But I think when the going got tough, then he preferred to take the easy way. On that one, I don't think history will ever forgive him. Mm-hmm. So I'm torn. My heart is really bleeding because on one hand, as a person, the Jacob that I knew, fantastic. I mean, he's a guy, very friendly and all that.
Yes.
But I thought he could have done better. Mm-hmm. I thought he should have stayed true to his convictions.
Yes.
I think he went against the dictates of his conscience. For the good times, for the good things,
yes.
Because when it did the easy way. And I hope that many of our friends who believe that Uganda is in the wrong hands
yes.
shall stay true to what they believe, regardless of how difficult the way may be,
yes.
regardless of how difficult life may get. If we love our country, we better stay true to our convictions. Okay. Jacob did not, and my heart bleeds for him because of that.
All right. Okay. So now let's get into the race to speakership.
I wanted to...
You want to make comments on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to make some comments.
How do those comments make you feel?
First, I think I'm not in the habit of being judgmental.
All right.
Secondly, I don't think it's fair for me to think or decide for somebody. Mm-hmm. Because the gentleman who just spoke, Mr. Gawaya?
No, Tugule.
Sorry.
Yes, Council Tugule.
Gawaya Tugule, actually.
Yes,
exactly,
Gawaya Tugule.
exactly, yes, Council. He said Jacob made a mistake. And first, I know, and I want to believe that Jacob took a personal decision to join the UPC.
Okay.
And therefore, he had the right to take his own decision. So if he took the decision to move to another party, that was his decision.
Yes.
And he should not be blamed for that. He should not be judged to that. I mean, for that. And that is how we should look at people. And so I really don't think that should make somebody think that Jacob wouldn't be forgiven.
Yes.
Unless we want to begin to think that we should decide and determine how people should think
and make their decisions.
Yeah.
But you see, ultimately, every country reaches a time when it needs certain people to make the right judgment calls if it is to survive.
But
right now, this country
for
is
example,
facing an existential threat.
And
I can tell you, as long as
Yes.
the people who have access to power, people who
Yes.
are able, who are as gifted as Olanya,
Yes.
bless his soul, by the way. I liked Jacob, make no mistake about that. But I think he made the wrong decision on this one.
By switching
The
parties.
country needed people like Olanya to speak out against what is wrong. He joined the side that perpetuates what is wrong.
Okay.
And for me, that was a bad thing.
We are not here to talk about his legacy.
So it's going to be one-sided.
We are not
which is
here.
unfortunate.
We are not here to speak of his legacy and the decisions that were made. We
Yes,
are here
yes.
to speak about the Race for Speakership, for the seat now that is really hot. About 13 13 candidates from the NRM have expressed their interest, and about 5 opposition honorables have also expressed their interest. So what does the Constitution say about it? Because a lot of people feel like this is being rushed. Why is it being rushed?
Well, there is what we feel and what we think,
Yes.
which is normal in life, because as a people,
Yes.
we have feelings, we have our own thoughts. And so for us, for many of us, let me put it that way, think and feel that this wouldn't be the moment, wouldn't be the time to have Parliament get into this, election mood and a lot of activities and moving away from the painful and difficult situation we are faced with.
Yes.
So many of us have the thought, have the thinking that you see, and this is in African tradition.
Yes.
This is what we know. The moment for grieving is grieving period. When people are mourning, you give that respect. And so that is how people look at it. But there is the other part, which is
The law.
The law, all right? Which is the law. And when you look at what the law says, there are procedures, there are ways to deal with. And I personally think that this particular provision, and there are 2 laws we are talking about.
Okay.
We are talking about the Constitution, Article 82, but we're also talking about the Parliamentary Pensions Act.
Okay.
Okay. Article 82 talks about the office of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker, and then the Parliamentary Pensions Act talks about what happens when the Speaker of Parliament dies.
All right.
What should be done.
All right.
And so Article 82 talks about having no business of Parliament
Until
conducted
it's-
exactly
yes, until
without
there's a speaker.
when the office of the Speaker is vacant. And then the Pensions Act talks about what needs to be done, the Parliamentary Pensions Act, including paying tribute to the
All right.
Speaker, including giving a state burial and all that. And paying tribute requires that the body has to be taken to Parliament.
Yes.
And then you have this dilemma. And so this should also serve as a point of reflection and trying to correct this kind of situation.
So what does it say in the event the Speaker of Parliament passes on? Because I think there was an oversight there. Unless one of the requirements to be Speaker of Parliament is you have to be immortal. Why was that not put in place? And another question is that the logical thing or rational thing to do would be to elevate the Deputy Speaker to Speaker, because isn't that the case when it comes to the event of the President?
You know,
when
just
the
like-
President
just-
passes, the
just-
Vice President takes up office. So why isn't that the case? Council, maybe perhaps you could comment on that.
I think after Honorable has commented,
All right.
Yeah, just like I said at the start, that there is what we think and how we feel.
Yes.
But there is also what the law says. Ordinarily, I would think that when such a position is left vacant, There is the deputy. The deputy should be empowered
Yes.
to perform certain functions, so we don't have that kind of dilemma.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that is not what the law says. And again, when you are dealing with the law, you use procedures that fall within the provision of the different laws
Yes.
to correct that.
All right.
So for me, I think the step we have to take as Parliament is to make sure that is corrected. Get into the process of correcting such a provision which creates a confusion and a
Yes.
mess. I think that is it. And you're not going to correct that today. There are procedures involved. And so we have to take those procedures and make sure we correct it.
All right,
Yes.
then. What about you, Councillor? I would like to hear your comments on that.
I think Honorable has summarized it very, very well. What I can add, just a footnote, is that it is culturally repugnant. What we're witnessing is culturally repugnant in the sense that as Africa, we want to respect the dead. We want to accord them the respect they
yes.
deserve, yes. Then even before the body has returned, we're already fighting for his sake. But again, like you said, that is one thing to feel, I think a certain way, it's another thing to have the law in place.
Yes.
So here we're closing our eyes, just being cold-blooded, literally, and saying, let us do as the law commands. And that is what the Constitution provides for. The cultural repugnance must be observed, and there is definitely a need for amendment when the time comes.
Yes.
But it also tells you the thinking at the time the Constitution was made, what were people thinking, what was preoccupying their minds. Nobody just
Yes.
paid attention to the fact that, wait a moment, a speaker can actually die in
Yes.
office. And then you'll actually cause paralysis in government.
Yes.
Because government business is basically overseen by Parliament. Yes, so if a speaker dies without notice, then you can have a quick paralysis there because Parliament can't operate, and then the things government is doing as executive, and they cannot operate. And like we saw in this case, even the Chief Justice had to fly to...
Yes, to
Yeah,
see
yes.
the letter.
And so you're like, wait a
Yes.
moment, you have the two arms of government...
Out of the country at the same time.
Yes. Although, of course, the courts will still operate, but there's a symbolism that you want to maybe take note of, that the Chief Justice is that way, the Speaker is that way, and then the Executive is here all along. So
Yes.
I think there is room for improvement there.
All right.
And like the Honourable says, there shall be amendment at the right time. But I'm hoping that this shall be a lesson to us, that every time we're making laws, we think beyond the now and say, wait a minute, there are all kinds of scenarios.
Exactly.
Because that time the presidency, fully provided for, in case he dies in office within this period or after this period, then you have various scenarios. For the speaker, nothing. Like you said,
Yes.
the presumption is immortality.
Exactly.
Which we all know is not the case.
Absolutely. So at this point, it just feels like our hands are tied and we have nothing to do but to just follow procedure. But I would like to just highlight something. The Acholi MPs want the Speakership Parliament to be reserved for the people of Acholi. What are your comments on that?
Again, I'll take you back to what I said. There is what we
Feelings,
think
yes,
what we
and then
feel.
there is law.
And for me, I will be as objective as possible.
Yes.
Yes, the Right Honorable Jacob Oulanyah, being somebody from Acholi, from northern Uganda, when he became Speaker of Parliament, the feeling, the political kind of environment after 2021 election, and looking at the country and how to create regional balance at a political level.
Yes.
I'm not talking about at other levels, at a political level, creating regional balance and all that. That was the feeling that northern Uganda, it
It feels like a big win for the region.
not necessarily a big win, but kind of also having a stake at that level.
Yes.
Okay, and so that has been the feeling. And now that we have lost the Honorable Jacob Oulanyah, it's a big loss to the people of northern Uganda, but also to Uganda, because it wasn't serving just the interests of northern Uganda.
Yes.
And so when the leaders of Acholi parliamentary group, and actually it's not Acholi parliamentary group that came with that decision yesterday.
Yes.
It's Acholi parliamentary group, Lao parliamentary group, and West Nile parliamentary
Yes.
group, bringing a total of about 102 members of parliament
Yes.
sitting together and saying, look, this is how we feel as Northern Uganda.
Yes.
And they're looking at different perspectives. The NRM looked at the situation as a loss because Jacob was the vice chair
Yes.
of the NRM in the Northern Uganda. And also the people looking at Jacob as their son. So there is that feeling and thinking. But what does the law say? At the end of the day, it's not the Acholi or the Northerners who determine who becomes the speaker.
Yes.
It is the Parliament of Uganda. And and having the speaker of the Parliament is not necessarily tagged on regional balance or tribal basis.
But it's starting to feel like that when
No,
comments like that are being thrown
you see,
around.
again, as I told you, from a very objective point of view,
Yes.
when people express their opinion and feelings, it's okay. It's okay to respect and listen. But it's also important to get back to what
does the law
exactly
say
what
about
does the
it?
law
Yes.
say, and exactly what I'm telling you is what the law says. It is going to be Parliament of Uganda to decide. Again, there are different processes, and as you know right now, the NRM
has the most candidates interested.
not even
in
that, but they're already involved in the process of identifying. I'm told today their SEC is sitting, and then tomorrow their caucus is sitting, and
yes.
I'm sure they will come with a candidate. And we do not know because I am not part of them.
Yes.
I don't know what happens in their system.
Yes.
So they are likely to come with their candidate, whom I'm sure they will throw their weight behind that
Yes.
candidate. And so when it comes to that, it ceases to be something for Northern Uganda. But the people, the leaders who sat together, have that feeling.
What happens in your system?
Which system?
You did say that that's what happens in the NRM system when they front their candidates. So what happens in
Well,
your
my
system, the
system
opposition?
is the Parliament of Uganda. I'll take part because I came to Parliament as
Yes.
an independent member of Parliament.
All right.
All right? And so my participation will be at Parliament level.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Council? Any comments on that? And there are so many people who have expressed their interest. What are your comments on them? Do you have any viable candidates that you feel will not be sellouts, like you called the late Right Honorable Jacob Oulanyah?
I'll say one thing. I really don't care who becomes speaker.
You don't care, and why is that so?
Because speaker or no speaker, it will be the same thing.
What do you mean the same thing?
Museveni will do what he wants.
Council.
We have a parliament that is not independent. We have a parliament that is manipulated constantly, like all the time. He twists it around his little finger, and they do his bidding all the time. So I really don't care who's going to be speaker, because in the broad sense, it makes no difference to the destiny of this nation. That's the sad reality.
Yes.
That we've had what we call state capture, that the arms of state are no longer independent. The judiciary is no longer independent. The parliament is no longer independent. So speaker or no speaker, I mean, apart from the formality of saying, okay, let's look at speaker, I don't see much in this for this country.
Yes.
We've already been done a dirty deal for the last more than 3 decades. So this makes absolutely no difference to me.
Okay.
Let me also add that when people, at a time like this, we have so many candidates, but the objectives are different.
Okay.
Not everyone wants to become speaker. No. There are those who are contesting to be seen. That, oh, there is a Tagule. Ah, who's Tagule? He's
Yes.
from, this is Tagule. Okay, then they take note of him. That is their objective. And for them, they have achieved that.
Being strategic.
Yes, it's purely strategy.
Yes.
Like now people know me. They know who I am, and they're using this as a stepping stone to another level. They know they have arrived here. Now they want to go here. So for them, it's not about becoming speaker. It's about the long term. They are
Yes.
looking far. They're being strategic. So that's category 1. Now category 2 are those who are saying, if I can come in here, I can make a deal.
Yes.
I'll cut a deal with somebody.
Yes.
Usually with the head of state. I say, now you see, Tegule, if you come in this thing, you're going to make life difficult for Martin. What you
yes,
do,
what
you do, you said you want what? Okay, we shall give you, we can give you a house, we can give you a something, and we shall give you a position somewhere else. You just step aside, let him go through.
Yes.
For them, they're cutting deals. That's category number 2. Now, category number 3 are those who are saying, if I come in, I'll make life difficult for so and so. He say if he's left alone, he's going to prevail. So they're there. Category number 3 is there to make life difficult for just to spoil the game. For this one, for that one, for that one.
Catalyzing everything.
Yes, just to make sure that good doesn't go through.
Yes.
Now, category number 4, if there be such a category, is the ones who want the thing. And who you know,
such a category?
If and we know who those are.
All right.
We know who those are.
Yes.
We know, and there's only about 2 or 3 of them.
Only 2 or 3?
Who are serious contenders.
Out of all this, about 16 right now.
Forget about
I
the
agree.
That's 2 or 3. So forget about other things.
Yes.
Look at those categories and then read the game.
Everybody has
happening.
ulterior motives
Yes.
in this game.
There's something for everybody in this thing. But ultimately, what we should know is that whoever will become speaker is the person who will be chosen by the president. Make no mistake about that. If you're going to become speaker, the president must want you to be speaker.
Exactly.
If you're going to be deputy speaker, the president must want you to be deputy speaker. And for me, if you want to ask who's going to become speaker, talk to Mr. Museveni. Tata Mhozi, he'll tell you, I want Gondi and Gondi. The moment he says, this is what I want, that's what's going to be done, believe you me.
All right. Honorable Mapenduzi, I would like you to comment on something that he said. He said that the parliament is not independent of the president, that he has the parliament wrapped around his little finger. What are your comments on that? I saw your facial expression, I beg your pardon, when he said those words. You smirked and looked at the side.
No,
what are your comments on that?
I was thinking.
As a member of parliament,
let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. First, I respect what he said.
Yes.
And I want to take what he said very seriously, because what he says is not only his opinion.
Yes.
When council says or speaks like that, it's many people speaking. And so, as Parliament, we should use that as a point for reflection.
Yes.
We should reflect deeply what Ugandans think about the institution of Parliament. This symbolically is a strong message of mistrust and also loss of confidence.
Yes.
And so, we should be getting ourselves together and say, look, if this is what the country feels, how can we make it better?
Yes.
I think that's the most important thing.
Yes.
So whatever you say, I agree, take it in good faith, and we have to responsibly say, well, there are people who think we are not doing a good job, and so how do we begin to do a much better job?
All right, Honorable, you are very diplomatic with your response
there.
No,
I agree, and
you cannot dispute how he feels, because he is representing.
He expresses his own heart, and we should take it that way.
Another very interesting question, and this one comes from the people, the good countrymen and women of this country. How much is it going to cost the taxpayer for these elections, these by-elections?
Definitely it comes with cost. Because having this kind of exercise, many things will happen.
Yes.
We will have to go to Kololo. All the members of parliament have to go through COVID test. Those have serious cost implications. Everyone has to do COVID test. You have to do that, and so definitely there are financial implications attached to. I'm not talking about how much, but even if it's 1,000, 1,000 shilling, it's
still a cost.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, but we have to go through that process, because that is what the law says.
All right.
It's painful, but that is it.
Okay. And lastly, before I ask for your closing remarks, are there steps being taken to amend the law on in the event something like this happens again when we lose a Speaker of Parliament? Because all we are hearing is the race to the speakership. Just that, and no amendments, no solutions, nothing to tell us that this is not going to ever happen again. So are there any active steps or things being taken to change that?
There are already many people who are talking about the same thing.
Yes.
Not only just members of parliament, legal experts like him, like many people, technical people, politicians,
yes,
the media, everyone is talking about this dilemma that is created by the law. And so there is no way we will avoid having a reform on this through an amendment. The only thing is the question you asked, whether something is being done now.
Yes.
I think right now, because even now, Parliament cannot conduct any business
without
unless,
the Speaker.
exactly, even when we have a deputy speaker, because
I'm sorry, continue, proceed.
yeah, because the law is very clear. You cannot conduct any business in Parliament when the office of the Speaker is vacant. It doesn't say when the office of the Speaker is vacant, the deputy speaker will. There is,
yes,
you know, when the Speaker is not around,
yes,
either he has traveled or is not feeling well, the deputy continues conducting business
yes,
under the watch or under the guidance of the Speaker.
Yes.
But in an event that the Speaker dies, that means that the office is vacant, and then you get back to the law.
But hasn't the deputy proven that she's competent enough?
She has done a good job. She has, you know, right from the time the Speaker and Deputy Speaker got elected, our
yes,
brother, a number of times wasn't well.
Yes.
But the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, would you know, do the needful, and they had a very good working relationship. They work very well, and for us members of Parliament, we really appreciate it. Actually, there was a time, about twice, when...
Are you fearing censure as well?
Exactly.
Well, how would I fear? No, I'm just trying to...
No, I'm just...
Yes, I'm going to come to your counsel. I would like to also hear your comments on that.
Oh,
yes,
please, I'll give you my comment,
okay,
my very honest comment.
Yes.
So what I was telling you, the Deputy Speaker and the Speaker worked so well. We, two very unique experiences. Twice, the Speaker would start, all right, would start chairing plenary, and then would immediately relinquish and give room for the Deputy Speaker to
yes,
come in. Sometimes you find the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker are all inside,
yes,
right? And we said, what is going on? This has never happened. But the Speaker would say, look, we are a team, and you don't have to worry. This is how we do it. This
yes,
Parliament is an institution, is a family. So we saw that. And so the Deputy Speaker did a good job, and we fully recognize that. So, yeah, that's what I can say.
What about your counsel? Do you think the Speaker has proved that she's competent enough to?
Also, one thing.
What is that?
First, that I think we missed Olanya. He was going to be a great speaker. He was going to run the show very, very well.
Yes.
His political baggage aside, make no mistake about this, Olanya was a fantastic guy.
Yes.
I think he had the gravitas necessary to be speaker, the aura, the presence, you know. You looked at him and you saw a Speaker of Parliament.
Yes.
I think we've missed that. We've missed his articulation. I wish he had had at least, you know, some more time just to run the show.
Yes.
I think we've missed a good performance by
yes,
Olanya and that teamwork that Honorable is pointing out. But number two, I think this is going to be a referendum on Honorable Anita.
Yes.
How has she performed? There will be two things you want to look at. Number one, do the members think that Anita has performed well and therefore she must be promoted to Speaker?
Yes.
This is going to be a referendum.
Yes.
But number two, and more strategically, more critically, more important, has she pleased the President? I think those ones, does the President think Anita has done his bidding as because he's the all in all here?
Yes.
Does he think she has done a good job? If the president does not think she has done a good job, believe you me, believe you me, Anita will be told to stay where you are. I have another speaker. Believe you me, because I know there is a close friend. They are good friends. Anita and Museveni, they're good friends. But if he thinks the Museveni that we know, that we've seen over the last 36 years, doesn't give a hoot, he has no friends. If he thinks she has annoyed him, if he thinks she has not done what he wanted her to do,
in one way or the other,
yes, he'll tell her, I think the best I can do for you, stay where you are. I'm putting another speaker. So look at those two things. It is a referendum on Anita's performance.
Yes.
One, the decision of Museveni, does he think she has done well? And two, do the members think she has done well?
Yes.
But what will matter really is what Museveni thinks about her performance.
All right, Council, closing remarks. Honorable, I'll start with you.
Thank you very much for
closing
inviting
remarks,
me.
yes, please.
Thank you for inviting me, and I wish you good luck.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Mapendis. And what about you, Council Tekule? Any closing remarks?
I wish, I pray, I hope, I want there to be a time when Parliament is really Parliament in this country.
Yes.
When the race for speakership is a race for speakership. I'm looking at what we've been witnessing a lot of the time. Parliament needs to be independent. We need to see a real Parliament, not a Parliament that is performing at the behest, at the beck and call of the head of state.
Yes.
I'm wishing, I'm hoping and praying for a time when there'll be a real Parliament. What we have now, I mean, with all respect, is far from ideal.
Yes.
And I hope that as a country, we shall reflect deeply on what we're seeing, and we shall move towards a real democracy. The journey might be long and hard, but I hope we can just take the steps towards there eventually, so that we shall have a real three pillars of state: the executive performing its role, and
as it should
be, Parliament properly independent and overseeing the executive, and the judiciary being what a judiciary ought to be.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Council. Thank you so much, Honorable, for joining me right here on the Twitter Jabs. That's all I had for you. Well, the NRM SEC and the opposition SEC will be sitting and will be fronting their candidates. Well, CTV will be bringing you all the updates on the Race to Speakership. My name is Apollo, and this was the Twitter Jabs, but the conversation continues, and I would love to hear your thoughts on Twitter. Please follow us and interact with us across all platforms. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're also on YouTube, and we stream live on Facebook. That's it from me right here on the Twitter Jabs. Keep watching Sunrise at Sea, and don't blink.